welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to demonstrate a replicator that uses a single video and one that uses an image sequence as their replicator cells. Let's get started. Start by choosing File, New from Project File Browser. Make sure that we have Motion Project selected. Our presets are Broadcast HD, 29.97 frames per second and 15 seconds in duration. Click on Open. Change my canvas to fit so that we can see everything on our screen. Okay, let's start by selecting the default group. Go to our project library. We'll choose Generators and come down and click on Color Solid and apply. Now click on the Inspector button because we really need to change this to a more reasonable color. I've chosen silver. Rename the group to Background and lock it in place. Okay, let's right-click on our media panel, click on New Group, and next we'll click on Import. Find the video we want to import. I'll move the screen a bit and click on Import. We'll resize this video by going to the Properties tab, choose Scale. Let's change the X scale to 36.17 and the Y scale to 36.17% as well. All right. We'll now change the position property to be on the x-axis minus 464.4 and on the y-axis 26.6. Next, we'll mask our video using the drop-down button. Click on Circle Mask and just draw out an arbitrary ellipse. We'll reposition it using our Properties panel. The x-axis will be minus 110.8. Y-axis is minus 48.58. Click on the Mask tab and let's change the X radius to be 735.1. and the Y radius to be 514.7. Oh, hang on, that's the X radius of 735.1 with a Y radius of 514.7. Okay, that's more like it. So select the video, not the circle mask. And now let's click Replicate. Next, open our HUD. We're going to make sure the opacity is set for 100%. Our blend mode is normal. We'll change the shape to be circle. The arrangement will be outline. And the number of points will be 9. Our build style remains at clockwise. So let's close the HUD and go to our inspector. Now with the replicator selected, let's change the radius to be 261.2. Coming down to the cell controls, we'll change our scale to be 50%. This is a good time to explain the differences between the replicator and replicator cells. Think of the replicator as the framework or layout of your pattern. Imagine a game of X's and O's. The horizontal and vertical lines on the page is controlled by the replicator. It determines there are 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. The cells are the X's and O's that are placed in the spaces created by those lines. All right, let's get back to our demonstration. Let's start the playback to see where we are. We can see that each cell is playing its own video, but they're all presented at the same time. I want to stagger the presentation so that each cell comes onto the screen sequentially. To do this, I'll add a behavior specifically designed to work with replicators. Go to the library, choose Behaviors, Replicator, and Sequence Replicator. Click Apply. Move the playhead to 310. Make sure the Sequence Replicator is selected and type the keyboard letter O. Notice if we run our playhead now, nothing seems to have changed. That's because we need to add a parameter or multiple parameters to our Sequence Replicator behavior. To do this, make sure it's selected, go to your inspector, and under Parameter, choose the Add button. Let's add a rotation. Twirl down the rotation triangle and rotate -180 degrees on the Z-axis. Now make sure sequencing is set to From. Next, we'll set an opacity parameter and set its beginning value to 0. Because we have sequencing set to From, our images or our video will begin at 0 opacity, and by the end of the Sequence Replicator timing will be at 100%. I hope that makes sense. Now that we've added a behavior to bring our videos onto our canvas, let's also add a behavior to take them back off. We'll move our playhead to 3.2. Let's come up to we'll make sure our replicator is selected. We'll come up to our behaviors drop-down list, choose Replicator, Sequence Replicator. Now with our Sequence Replicator 1 selected, and with our playhead at 3.2, we'll select our Sequence Replicator and type the keyboard letter I. That's in. So that's where we're going to start our second replicator. Let's move our playhead now to 7.0. With that Sequence Replicator behavior selected, we'll key in the letter O. Okay, now let's set up a couple of parameters for Sequence Replicator 1. Remember, the goal is to take the cells back off the screen. With Sequence Replicator 1 select, choose Add Parameter Opacity. Change 100% opacity to 0. Make sure sequencing is set to 2. Now choose Add Parameter Rotation and change the Z-axis to -180. Let's run our entire sequence. Perfect. So let's reset our playhead back to the beginning and ensure that our original video is turned on. There we have it. We've created our first replicator with a Sequence Replicator behavior. This replicator is a single movie that is repeated in each of our replicator cells. Let's now build a replicator that uses a series of images so that each cell is potentially different from the other. We'll start by building a new group. Let's rename this group to Images, then click on the Import button. We want to import a series of files as an image sequence, and there are a few things we need to ensure. First off, all the files we choose must be of the same file type. In this case, I can choose either the PNG files or the JPEG files, but not both. Doing so will bring in 2 separate image sequences. The files must be named sequentially. Notice each file is named pattern and has a 3-digit number. Also important that the number sequence is of 3-digit minimum. Finally, they must be sequential. If pattern 055 is missing, our image sequence would end at pattern 054 and files 056 through 063 would not be picked up. Let's select pattern 042 through to 063, ensure image sequence is selected, and click on Import. If you don't see the first image, make sure your playhead is at the beginning of our movie. Select the image sequence and replicate, or click on the Replicate button. Now we'll build out our replicator with the following settings. Properties, position, x-axis should be 505.5, y 49.52. Click on the Replicator tab and change the shape or ensure that it's rectangle. Arrangement is tile fill. Size is 575.25. Columns is 4. Rows is 4. We'll choose an origin of upper left. Build style is across, and 3D is turned on. Now we'll go to the cell controls and change the scale to 97%. Watch what happens when we play our movie now. Not exactly what we're looking for. Place your playhead at 700 with Replicator 1 selected. Type the keyboard letter I. Let's go ahead and change these cell controls. Watch what happens when we switch random start from to on. Let's also deselect play frames. Unfortunately, you cannot assign each cell to a unique image, but you can click on the random seed button until you get something that you like. Okay, I think I'm going to stick with this one. I'll move my playhead to 1015. And now I'm going to add a new sequence replicator behavior. With the sequence replicator behavior selected at 1015, I'll type the letter O. Next, we'll apply a couple of replicator sequence behaviors to bring our pattern squares on and then off our canvas. Let's add a scale parameter starting at 0%. Again, let's change our sequencing to from. Then we'll add a rotation parameter starting at -180 degrees on the z-axis. Before we move on, let's check and see what our changes look like. Moving the playhead to 10,20, we're going to add a new sequence replicator. With the sequence replicator selected, type the letter I. Now we'll make sure that our sequencing is set to 2, and we'll create 2 new parameters for rotation, where our rotation goes on the y-axis to a -90 degrees. We'll also change our opacity to go to 0%. Let's watch it play. Well, that's it, folks. That's our tutorial. I sure hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something new. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, share with your friends, and leave me a comment below. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified when new videos are posted. Don't forget to check out our website where you can find other free stuff like seamless patterns, deco toners, Illustrator brushes, and page borders. That's at www.lillizzy.net. Cheers!